There has never been a more fitting nickname than Marvin Bad News Barnes. As a player, he was promising with a high degree of skill in scoring and rebounding. However, off the court he was a stone-cold degenerate. From drugs to crime, then redemption to sadly death. This is the story of Marvin Barnes. From the beginning, Marvin always had a knack for scoring. Despite his overwhelming size, Barnes was swift on the court and had a level of finesse that was rare for a big man during his time. He proved himself to be a problem during his time at high school in Providence, Rhode Island. Unfortunately, he posed issues both on and off the court. During his senior year of high school, Marvin would commit a robbery so inept that it would become a legendary tale in basketball discussion circles since. Marvin and a group of other delinquents decided that they needed money. What would be the source of this money, you may ask? A robbery by commandeering a bus. If that wasn't already goofy enough, Marvin was an at the time 6'5" black man in Rhode Island who had become a local celebrity, and as if that wasn't already recognizable enough, his choice of clothing for the robbery was a jacket that read "State Champion" on the front with Marvin written just below. Needless to say that the bus driver recognized who was robbing him immediately and effectively put a stop to the robbery before it even started. While the story is definitely funny and easy to laugh at, it also foreshadowed the not-so-funny spiral of crime that Barnes would be thrown into. Despite Marvin's shenanigans off the court, he still made his way onto the Providence college team where he'd continue to show his potential. Marvin excelled with his team, making the semifinals in 1973 and leading the NCAA in rebounding in 1974. He'd finished his college career with an astonishing 17.9 rebounds per game and 20.7 points per game. He was also elected NCAA All-Region and was an All-American. As par for the course though, Marvin had to run into trouble. It would be during his time in college that Marvin would commit his most heinous crime. Marvin had a teammate named Larry Ketvertis. Larry was a decent player within his own right, playing a key role in Providence's bench. Anyways, Marvin became very irritated at Larry because he thought Larry was being way too physical during practice. The most reasonable reaction from Marvin would be to talk out the problem with his teammate. Or hell, even a fist fight would have been better because Marvin ended up attacking the guy with a tire iron and causing serious harm. Larry later recounted the story himself, saying that his whole right eye socket and cheekbone was smashed and his eyeball was dangling. To make the issue even worse, Marvin was only given probation and the school did absolutely nothing to punish him, and multiple faculty members refused to help Larry at the scene of the incident. The coach refused to take Larry to the hospital, and the priest on campus ignored his request to call the police on Marvin. I'm sure the lack of consequences only enforced Marvin's behavioral issues, especially considering the fact that his criminal tendencies did not stop him from being chosen second in the 1974 NBA draft by the 76ers. However, because of some disagreements with the 76ers offer, Marvin made his way to the St. Louis Spirits of the ABA, where he'd spent his best professional years. In the 2 years he spent on the team, Marvin won Rookie of the Year, made 2 All-Star appearances, and was elected All-ABA. Marvin showed immense talent, but his off-court issues weren't going to magically disappear. Marvin continued to run into trouble with the law and even took on a drug habit that would soon ruin his career and destroy his life. Because of the extensive issues Marvin ran into during his time in the ABA, the most effective way of detailing his hijinks would be to just start listing them off. To start, remember that probation he was given for attacking his college teammate with a tire iron? Well, he violated that in 1976 by carrying a gun in his luggage to the airport. Marvin spent a 5-month stint in prison for this, but still reported back to the Pistons 1 month into the season. Of course, Marvin's personality and criminality affected his teammates also. Bobby Jones once recounted a story in which Marvin Barnes spent an entire pregame layup drill just sitting in the stands talking to girls. The coach of the Spirits refused to start Marvin because of this. However, in these early years his talent was still able to shine through, which allowed him to achieve 40 points and 20 rebounds despite coming off the bench. Marvin also rather infamously admitted to doing cocaine on the bench next to Nate Archibald during his time on the Celtics, causing his teammates to immediately distance themselves from him. Unfortunately, his drug issue also contributed to the downfall of another one of his teammates, Eric Money, who he admitted to getting high with during their time being on the same team. Eric was very promising in his own right, becoming yet another what if caused by drug problems. Inevitably, Marvin was out of professional basketball within 6 short years. He wound up a homeless drug addict in the early 80s, and when it was all said and done, he had been arrested for burglary, drug possession, and trespassing. There is a brief yet happy moment in this story because Marvin was able to get clean through extensive rehab and began reaching out to youths, encouraging them to stay away from the substances that destroyed his basketball aspirations. Unfortunately, tragedy struck on September 8, 2014. Marvin had passed away as a result of succumbing to his addiction yet again. Despite his best efforts, he was still unable to shake whatever troubled him inside. Today, Marvin serves as a reminder of how a series of bad choices can easily destroy someone's livelihood. On one hand, Marvin was a violent criminal who was never held responsible by himself or others. But on the other hand, he was once a promising young basketball player with a personality that has been described as delightful and charming. And later, he was a beacon of hope for his community. While it's important to know where Marvin went wrong, and understand that he simply was not a good person throughout a significant portion of his life, I'd like to end off the video with a more lighthearted story during his time with the St. Louis Spirits. After a night in New York that was likely filled with the usual Marvin Barnes style of mischief, he slept in late, causing him to miss every flight set to Norfolk, Virginia, where he was supposed to play the Virginia Squires. So what did Marvin do? Well, he chartered his own flight and arrived at the arena wearing a mink coat with a woman on each arm and a McDonald's bag filled with burgers. In typical Marvin Barnes style, he enters the visitors' locker room and does this.
The double doors swing open to the visitors' locker room, and there stands Marvin.
I got my mink coat on, big hat, I'm eating hamburgers.
And he parts the coat, Superman style, and he's got his uniform on underneath. And with a broad smile, he declares,
"Have no fear, BB's here."